Hey everyone, we're back with a new episode of the Crumbling Foundation. Deeply appreciate seeing everyone here. Very excited to get to it tonight. A couple of things that I have to get through before we do. I will try and keep them as brief as I can. First, if you enjoy what you see here, there are a couple of ways you can go about supporting us. Follows are always appreciated. The subscribe button exists. Use it at your leisure. We also have a Ko-Fi. On our Ko-Fi, we have different tiered memberships that you can choose from, which offer some cool things like naming rights for NPCs and locations. Things like access to behind the scenes shows that we shoot every month for all of our series, where all of our cast sit down to discuss what they think and feel about what's been going on, give you some ideas as to why they made the decisions they did, and just generally hang out and talk about the shows. It's a pretty good time overall. At our highest tier, we have once a month a raffle where we pick one person and then we build a custom character for you. If we know the system, great. If we don't, we'll learn it. It doesn't matter. Create whatever kind of character you're looking for that comes complete with backstory, any NPCs that would be relevant to them, and the coolest part, in my opinion, custom art made by our in-house artist, Miss Moon. So that's pretty neat, if you ask me. We also have a bunch of free stuff over on our Ko-Fi. It's where we post updates on what we're doing with the studio, transparency when it comes to our games, our casts, and other things, updates on projects that we are working on besides our APs, and sometimes cool maps and other stuff, all completely free. And we recently released One Night at Ollie's, which is a Five Nights at Freddy's themed Kids on Bikes module. Completely free. You can find it there. It's also on our itch, I think, which is just Tales at the Table Studios on itch. Either way, check it out. Super free. Let us know what you think. In order to do that, you can find us over on Discord. Our Discord link is down below, and all of these amazing people and a bunch of other amazing people are over there too. We've got a great community growing, and we've been having a lot of really great talks and hanging out, and it's been a source of peace recently with everything going on with the OGL and other nonsense in the community. So it's really good that we have those people, and we're always happy to bring more people in. Also, all of our backlog is on YouTube. Want to check out any of our series, old episodes, or any of the one shots that we've run? Those are all available over on our YouTube. The link should also be below for that as well. You will notice that we've switched up our overlay a little bit because we're trying to get captions included now. It's important to us to make things as accessible as possible. You may notice that it's a little bit buggy right now. We're working on getting that ironed out, and hopefully in the next week or two, it will be a lot more precise. With that, I think I've gone over everything that I need to except for our content. I'm going to do that. I will shut up and let everyone else introduce. Awesome. So, first, this is a horror game. Crumbling Foundation is a game that creates atmospheric horror and will at times contain religious iconography, death, violence, sometimes mutilation, and sometimes self-mutilation. So, things to be aware of. At any point you feel uncomfortable, please step away. There's no reason to have to stick around if you're not comfortable or happy with what you're seeing. We have other shows, we have other content. We aren't going to be in those spaces all the time, but it is part of the concept of what we're doing. So, take care of yourself first at all times. Incredible. With that said, I think I'm done talking for the now, which is nice. I will pass things to our amazing cast so they can introduce themselves. JD, why don't we start with you?
Every single other week, I'm like, it's not going to be me, and then it's me, and then I have to remember what to say.
We go this
So,
way, and then
hi.
we go that way, and then we go this way again. It's great.
Always switching it up. So, I'm JD. You can find me on pretty much all socials at JD, not Jason Dean. And right now, several different channels have shared custody of me. So tonight you can find me here, but tomorrow night you can find me with Live from the Apocalypse for Class Reunion, our D&D homebrew. You can find me back with Live from the Apocalypse on Wednesday night for Vampire Records, which is our Empire Records Buffy the Vampire Slayer crossover. And then you can find me a third time on Live from the Apocalypse before next Monday, as I will be back on Sunday for Masks, for Academy H, our Masks actual play podcast that we do live recordings of every other Sunday. You can also find me this week, and I know Jack will have more to say on this, with RPGs Uncovered, as I will be joining the cast of the fourth season. And I'm very, very excited about that. We will be doing Cyber Rats, and it's going to be a good time. And I think that's it for me for the next week. It's a little bit of a wild ride. I swear I am not doing 7 nights of gaming. I promise. We're not there yet.
I feel called out here, but all right.
Oh yeah, and tonight I'm playing Dr. Zachary Ryan, who is our social scientist, who is on his second mission ever with the SCP Foundation, or about to be.
All right. Next up, we got Jack.
Yes, hello, that is me. I am Jack. I am that guy that JD was just talking about. I run RPGs Uncovered. That is a series dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it can be to learn a new TTRPG. And we are just about to start season 4 of that RPGs Uncovered series. As JD just said, we're going to be playing Cyber Rats. It's a fantastic looking game. It's basically XCOM meets Shadowrun smushed together with all the clunky, crunchy mathematics and all that taken out. It's a Lumen-based game, so it's going to be real quick, real simple, but very deep, very evocative, and it looks like a fantastic game. We just had a session 0 not yesterday, but the day before, and it was one of the most fun times I've ever had with a session 0. We have a great cast for you, and a lot of really cool things, a lot of narrative gold for me to dig into, and it's a great system. So if you're looking for an alternative to D&D, if you just want to branch out, if you want to try a new genre, come hang out. This Saturday, we are doing the Learning the Game episode. We're going to run through the rules, tools, and themes of the game, do a little demonstration of various things there, and run through a mock session 0, because session 0s are super important. So come hang out on twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered this upcoming Saturday at 4:30 p.m. EST. Other than that, you can, of course, find me here now. Unfortunately, the Star Trek Europa show that I am usually on just wrapped up last week. We had our season finale. It was a great show. It was a great season all around. So if you do want to check that out, you can find that where any good podcasts can be found. It's all over the place. They're also on YouTube under Studio Tembo. So YouTube or podcast places, Studio Tempo. It's a great show. Very not original Star Trek, but next generation DS9 era Star Trek. It's great stuff. I think that's about all I can talk about, but I definitely have more in the works and definitely more coming. So come hang out with me on Twitter at RPGs Uncovered, or hang out in my own Discord where I drop some announcements. But I am ready to get into some SCP. I will be playing Agent Hevard Hart, and I'm really excited. And now I think I'm pointing the right direction. Let's go talk to Tal.
Hello, I'm Tal. You can find me over the socials under the Gamer's Rest. I'm a designer and writer of TTRPGs, and you can find most of my work over on my Ko-fi, which is Tal Woodblaze. So it's a bit of D&D, it's a bit of Monster of the Week, and a few bits and pieces I've designed myself. And tonight I am going to be playing Jackson Kennedy, who is the resident grumpy medic who will try to do his best to keep everyone alive whilst not taking things too seriously. And that's me.
And we'll pass things to the Eye.
Hello, I am the Eye. I'm sorry I missed last week, everybody. I missed you all. And you will not be seeing me today, as I am still ill from whatever the hell is going on with me. As always, as I have always said, you can only find me here. Here is the only place you will find me, and this place is the place I will be. I am playing Lieutenant Liam MacCern today, the resident no-nonsense military nutcase who wishes to just shoot everything that's a problem. And that's it.
All right, and Zoe.
Hello, everyone. I am Zoe Trooper. Tonight I am playing Dr. Zura Von Brandt. It's great to be here, as always. You can also find me at Hollowed Haven Studios, where very exciting. I got to finally do my SPC role in the Scion game, where I was the goddess Artemis, and I got to give one of the player characters their divine powers. Very exciting. Artemis is a very complicated character, and I absolutely adore her now. So there's that. You can also find me on Component Cast in February, early March, playing a Cyberpunk Red game. So super exciting for that.
Very exciting. And when we last left off, our group had been taking some R&R after an incredibly stressful and busy day. I believe it was all done in a day, wasn't it?
Man,
And
that day felt like 5 weeks.
I know. And then quarantine period before giving y'all a, I think, very well deserved week to yourself. During that week, a couple of things happened. Jackson found himself dreaming, traveling. Who knows, really? Perhaps we'll have to wait and find out. But he's not the only one who did some traveling. Is Agent Hart and his new science-y friends took a trip.
Nerds.
Your nerds took a trip over to a very classic, very fancy, and by fancy I mean notable bowling establishment, bowling alley, where they had the opportunity to blow off some steam, being called back into work. However, because of his absence, I start with this. Yeah, in the week that they had off, what did Lieutenant MacCern get up?
Well, as soon as Lieutenant MacCern was out of quarantine, he would find it a prerogative to go to GOC, wherever the closest GOC headquarters that he would be able to get to report in, as well as make sure that nothing else was done to him in quarantine by the SCP Foundation. As paranoia runs high, there will be always checks of the was Lieutenant cloned, was he replaced by some SCP unknownst to the GOC? Who knows? But hopefully he passes all said checks and is returning to his post forthwith.
Well, at least for the time being, it does seem like you have passed all of the necessary checks that they have had for you and have cleared you for duty.
Nice.
You were also sat down, most likely, to be debriefed, go over everything to see how it matched up to the report that the Foundation sent through, which you found to be almost exactly what it was that you wrote up. There was the only thing that had been changed was there was a slight bit of colorful language regarding one of the people on your squad that had been removed. Beyond that, you find yourself sent back with the green light to continue on with what you know. And we're told that there would be a number of discussions that were still coming in the future regarding you being returned to field work, but that you have been greenlit for that. With that, Tal, I believe there was something that Jackson wanted to do.
Yeah. So he will go and knock on Director Eden's door with a very kind of doesn't want to be there, but knows it's the right thing to do.
And again, you notice that the desk that usually is busy with some assistant seems to be empty. All of the same paperwork that had been left there the first time seems to still be there untouched. Nothing seems to have changed in the day or even few days since you'd last been. You also notice that the HR cubicles are once again empty. But after a couple of, maybe about a minute of knocking, you hear the muffled voice from beyond the door. Come in.
Director Eden, what an absolute pleasure. I wonder if I could have a couple of moments of your time, please.
How many? He says without looking up, still typing away.
2?
All right, I suppose I can spare that. What can I do for you, Captain Kennedy?
Okay. I wanted you to know that something weird happened to me the other night. I had a incredibly vivid, strange dream where I ended up in some strange library. Wouldn't normally bring this up, but I get the feeling that it's one of those weird, real things that happened. If I remember correctly, was it XO1? Was that the
NX01?
NX01? Yeah.
The moment you say that, you can see the look of acknowledgement, understanding, and almost surprise sort of flare up in her eyes for just the barest of seconds before she regains her composure.
Oh, so I did do the right thing telling you about this. Yeah, it was weird, and I don't mean that kind of dream where, you get chased by a giant tomato or something. It was the weird kind of dream. So yeah, thought I'd let you know. Thought maybe you might know something or be able to point me in a direction of something, just to make sure I'm not infected, in trouble, gonna cause hideous amounts of death with books from the library, that kind of thing.
Very few people who work for the Foundation in any capacity are not in some way infected by something, though most of it means very little. But I do appreciate you coming to me and telling me about this. I assume you don't know anything else about it.
No. I mean, the selection of books was very limited. Maybe children's books. Oh, and I sketched this as well, and I'll so the symbol that I saw, I've done a sketch from memory of it and kind of hand it over. Again, don't know if that means anything, but I figured that you want me to stay alive at the moment. So if something in this dream was going to kill me or hurt me, you'd probably tell me.
Correct, or I'd go behind your back to ensure that your safety was something we could.
Yeah, I mean, either way.
Do me a favor. I would like you to roll me a perception awareness.
Awareness. Okay. My perception's pretty good. So, 1, 2, 3, and then let's use. Okay. That is. Oh, my 8 exploded. Lovely. So.
Doing good.
So that's 7, 14 plus 8, 22.
Okay, so when you come over and you put the sketch down, you notice that her eyes shift for a moment, and glancing downwards, this is about at the same time you began talking about the children's books, you notice that sticking out from one of the very thick like files on her desk is a bookmark. Seems simple enough. Paper, one of the ones that you would probably get at like a children's fair, or that's given away at local like mom and pop bookstores. And the top of it is poking out of the book, or out of the file, as oft how bookmarks are used. And you notice that the top of it, you see about a fourth of the symbol marked on the bookmark matches what you recall of the symbol you saw. And she takes the drawing from you and she looks it over. And she looks confused for a moment. And then in thought goes, children's books. Was that all?
Well, I did talk to someone and they gave me a library card, which was, cool. They told me the rules. They didn't really tell me what I could do there. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming read books, but they gave me the title of Wanderer. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Can you do me a favor? She says as she turns the paper over, and this is the most cordial you have ever seen her. Mm-hmm. She reaches out and she pulls a pen and she goes, can you tell me what those rules were?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so don't take what is not mine. Keep the card safe. Learn the ways. Limit possessions. Stay clear of the named places. Avoid the staff. Know your enemy. And to know is to hear the voice itself. Pretty standard gibberish.
And who is it that told you these?
Oh yeah, some guy who, he was weird. Yeah.
You'll have to be a bit more specific. Weird is a difficult descriptor in our line of work.
He was kind of, I can't remember what he looked like. I'm trying to remember. I didn't write it down.
he was in like a full white cloak with a long hood. There wasn't much you could really tell.
Yeah, just a cloak and a hood and a voice, really. I'm assuming he wasn't. Well, it's weird because if he worked there, then I shouldn't have talked to him, and that would have broken the rules.
I do not believe that you had an interaction with the library staff.
Okay. Do you know what it is?
Yes.
What its purpose is? Great. Okay.
What I am going to do, give me a moment, Captain Kennedy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule a meeting with Director Sklar so that the two of us can have a conversation. I'm going to recommend to him that we make an exception for your security level so that you have access to the files that we have on NX01 so that you will be able to educate yourself on what it is, how it works, and what to do in the event that you find yourself there again. In the meantime, if you do, I suggest that you take as little in the course of action as you can. Find somewhere to make yourself comfortable. Be prepared to move if you hear movement, and don't panic. Follow the rules as they're set out before you, and you should be fine. Do you have your library card on you?
Kind of pat myself down and
you do
I have my
you feel a piece of plastic, absolutely, yeah. And if you go to check, okay. You do
kind of pull it out. Okay, well that's not done that before.
Could I see it?
Yes. I'd like it back though, just in case.
She takes it from you, and she goes, good. In the future, if anyone, including myself, asks you to see this, do not give them possession of it.
Yeah.
And then she takes a moment to sort of look it over. And then she hands it back. That includes anyone from your squad, myself, Director Sklar, anyone else within an executive branch or otherwise, in this or any site, if an O5 member comes up to you, declares that they are an O5 member and can prove it, and asks to see your card, you respectfully decline. You can show it to them, but only if you are absolutely certain that it will not be removed from your person.
Oh, this is serious, isn't it? This is. I was kind of hoping it would just be something, that happens to everyone. It doesn't, does it?
Takes a moment, she closes the file. She sets her hands in front of her and she goes, Captain Kennedy, I am going to do something that I do not think any other situation would get me to do. I am going to tell you something that I likely should not be telling you. You have found yourself, somehow, with an invitation to the Wanderer's Library. I assume you don't know what that means. The reason I assume as much is because very few people do. Wanderer's Library is a very curious thing, something that we have been working very hard on trying to figure out. And now, it seems like we have another opportunity to do so. What we do know, what I can tell you at least, until such a time as you are cleared for more, is that the Wanderer's Library holds within it every single copy of every single book ever written. With that comes many concerns. Because for every episode, for every version of The Cat in the Hat, there are significantly more troubling texts. Some that would not be attainable outside of the library itself. I tell you this because, as our previous conversation went, I believe you are the right sort of person to know this information, although I will clarify that it is likely in your best interests to limit the amount of people who are aware of this as you see fit.
Okay, so possible direct impact on my day-to-day duties. Minimal, high. Does it put the team in greater danger?
As far as I can tell, you are in no immediate danger, and nor are they. Nothing is going to change currently, though whether it stays that way, I cannot tell you confidently until after my conversation with Director Sklar.
Okay. Well, I'll probably keep it to myself for the moment then. I came to you because secrets get people killed, and this has been icky. I really haven't enjoyed this at all. This cordial thing between us. I'm going to really try hard not to make a habit of it.
I appreciate that. Is there anything else?
We discussed a pay rise recently.
We have not. Would you like to?
Maybe some other time.
Good, I'd hate to disappoint you. The door is over there.
Never disappointed when I talk to you, Director Eden. It's always an experience. Oh, by the way, have you thought about trying a different deodorant? Because for some reason you can't keep staff out there. Is it a problem? Is it, you scaring them off a little bit?
My assistants are off on another assignment.
Well, good assistants are difficult to keep.
Indeed. Is there anything else?
No. Okay, yeah, I'll keep you updated if anything changes.
Thank you, Captain Kenneth.
Yeah. And he walks out.
And I think as Jackson walks out, there's a moment where the camera lingers in her office as she continues writing on one of her files. And after a moment, she stops and there's a deep sigh. And the pen goes down and her head goes to rest into her hand. And then we cut away over to the last few moments of Nerds and Words hanging out at this bowling alley. And I believe, JD, you had something.
Yes. So I don't think this happens actually until we're back in the car and returning, following all of our phones going off to let us know that we needed to return to the site for our next mission. But as we're driving back, Zach once again looks to Zura and signs, similarly to how he did when he was asking her if she thought they were both being kidnapped by Hev, given the sketchy location of the bowling alley. And so the thing with Zach is like, Zach and Zura both, I think, have been pretty weirdly socialized, given that they are both child prodigies. So he thinks she might understand this question more than anyone else would. And he goes to sign the equivalent of, do you think Hev was flirting with me when he was teaching me how to bowl? However, Zura can immediately tell that he is flustered, because what he ends up signing to her is more along the lines of, do you think Hev was teaching me to bowl when he was flirting with me?
Before you start signing this to her, Zura has the score sheet from our bowling in front of her, and she is anguishing over the fact that she did not get a perfect score. There was some spares. She doesn't want to talk about it, but she's still like looking at the numbers like, how could I have improved? And then when you start signing this question to her, it tears her away from that. And she just kind of like, the car becomes alight with laughter. And when she finally catches herself, she's just she signs back, I think you have it the other way around, but why don't you ask?
And Zach just kind of takes that in and then just nods and is willing to sit on that for the moment.
She'll pause for a moment and then go, are you interested? Like, is signing a question.
And I think Zach takes a moment and then signs back, hard to say. I also think he could have been testing me.
She responds with like, that is Hart's way.
And Zach nods.
Yeah. Just keep your eyes open.
Let me ask in this exchange, because of course I'm driving. Is one of you next to me in the passenger seat, or am I chauffeuring the nerds around and you two in the back seat?
I like to imagine one of us is in the front and like obviously spun around and signing to the back.
I like to think it's Zach actually in the front,
That's what I was
since he
picturing.
initiated it.
Love it.
Does Hev have any reaction to this out of curiosity?
Yeah, I imagine you could see at least like the faint movement of hands through the mirror.
Mm. Well, yes, I see a digital crow in chat was wondering if Hev can sign. No, he can't. He has no idea what they're talking about. No, I think he's just chilling. He's driving in his super awesome spy car and is just having a good time. He'll turn the music up and just kind of relax. Like he'll notice. Like he might even like turn towards Zach and just kind of give him a shrug. But yeah, no, he's cool. Secret nerd talk. I'll figure it out eventually.
And I feel like actually at that point, not realizing that one, Hev should be looking at the road, and two, that Hev cannot understand sign language. I think Zach still like signs to him, just science talk.
What shade of red is Zach right now?
Pretty red.
Okay.
Pretty red.
Because that he would pick up on.
Yeah, no, he is definitely blushing. He has not gotten to spend enough time outside, and he has probably similarly pale Irish skin as I do.
Zura can't help but smile at this. Like it's very adorable. But she doesn't say anything more.
And so I think from there, the camera sort of pulls back just a bit as the car drives by, falling out from behind, like the back windshield, and lingers watching the car drive, and then fades. And as it fades back, I think we find Lieutenant MacCern returning to the site. Do you imagine the eye that Lieutenant MacCern has any people that he's friendly with here? Or is there always sort of an arm's length between him and anyone working for the Foundation?
My assumption, other than Captain Kennedy, of course, is that Liam gets along pretty well with other like hardline military personnel within the facility. I would assume that perhaps there, I mean, this would be of course up to you, but other people who know, well, everyone knows that he's part of the GOC, but other people that are a little bit like a little bit more hard line like he is might come to him sometimes and be like, hey, listen, we had to like capture this thing and I lost like 6 of my friends doing it. Why the fuck are we doing that? And Liam would just kind of lean in and go, oh yes, tell me more. So yeah, there's probably a few people here that he might get along with.
I think so as Liam is coming back on site, there are a couple people working like security at the entrance he comes through. When he comes out from, I assume, the door that he's using, who sort of engage in friendly conversation, let him know that things have been relatively calm, as calm as things can be here, and asked how his trip was. Just some small talk. I don't think anyone deeply engages. And I think that Liam would notice that there is a almost noticeably a noticeable discomfort in how they engage you.
These are people that are normally not uncomfortable about engaging with me, or
Correct. Usually are not uncomfortable. But there seems to be, they seem more reserved, especially as you said, since most of the people that you get along with here at the site are people who are similarly minded and generally have personalities that would make them very forward. But here, something seems to be almost muted in how they address you and speak to you. They're clearly trying to be friendly, but there is a distinct noticeable change.
If any of them that are normally friendly with me kind of just like gives me like a sideways eye wave as they pass by, MacCern would follow them for a bit until they're alone and then probably engage with them.
Why don't you roll me a fate? We will let the dice decide.
Sure. I can do that. Dice would be useful.
Dice do generally tend to help, yes. Not always. There are diceless games out there, some of which are fantastic.
Hey, that's 2d8 for my lowly self.
It's not too bad.
Wow, 2 sevens. That's 14.
Oh, not bad. You notice actually one of the people working security, Officer Pat Vladik, sort of shifts his eyes a bit as you come through towards the corridor that is just past the last security checkpoint from the doors. SCP 7938. And as you sort of disengage from conversation, he has already stepped out from one of the back exits. And as you go through the checkpoint, you find him sort of waiting there. He clearly looks kind of troubled.
Hey, Radek. What's going on there, lad?
Look, MacCern, you need to be careful. There are people who are not so keen on the idea of having you out in the field.
That doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Wasn't so, well, let's just say that it was quite a surprise on my end as well.
Did you not request this?
No, I did not.
That is not the story that is going around, I have to tell you. They are very different. It has sounded to me, from what I have heard, as though they are chomping at the bit. You, rather, were chomping at the bit, fighting to get yourself back out. Now,
Well, Radek, I'll tell you that I have wanted to go back out in the field, but not under the direction of the SCP. But no, I did not put in any such request. I came here, unfortunately, to be a pencil pusher and a trainer for you, fine gentlemen. This came out of the blue. If you could do me a favor, just pass around the information that, no, this was forced upon me.
I will do what I can to, as subtly as possible, correct this miscalculation in the story that is spreading. But I will warn you that stories move quickly on site, and there are people who are more well respected than us footmen who might not be so happy with the idea of a GOC soldier coming in here and boots on the ground. And if they hear that you are fighting for it may create some mistrust. You know.
I tell you what. Is there anyone that's been especially vocal about this whole situation?
Look, this is not a very comfortable position. But no, I have heard that I have heard that you can't tell anyone. You've heard this from me, obviously, and it will come out because we are here and there are eyes everywhere. But if it does not come from your mouth, maybe better. And he reaches into the pocket of the vest that he has on, the black vest, and then he sort of passes his hand towards you, and begins to step past you as he does. You would recognize this as him trying to pass you something.
I will take it.
And as he moves past you, he releases it, and you feel it feels like an index card sort of drop into your palm. And he stops and he turns and he goes, all I'm going to tell you now is I want nothing to do. Yeah, whatever is or isn't true, my job is to keep things safe here. That's all I want to do. I have no shits to give about infighting, outfighting, whatever else. No one comes for the doors, and no one gets on my bad side.
And I appreciate it, Reddick. And he'll nod and just continue on his way. He doesn't even look at the card. He just pockets it and keeps walking.
Yeah, and he goes back to his station.
In fact, he's gonna head, unless there's anyone calling for him, he's gonna head straight for his office.
Sure. I think, based on the timing, most likely about the time that you get to your office would be when the message comes in through your secure line that you're being called to Director Eden's office.
So he'll go into his office, and I'm assuming that MacCern would know, like, if there's a blind spot within his office that he can stand real fast.
I will tell you, I think MacCern would know very well that there is not a single blind spot in his office, specifically because it's his office.
Gotcha.
Every single inch is covered.
Is there a place he would know where he can go on the way to the office, to perhaps a bathroom?
You would probably feel comfortable finding a spot in the bathroom. I will say that, barring taking the time to do a very thorough sweep, you're fully aware that the way that the Foundation is set up, and especially on this site, cameras are far from the only thing that will be keeping an eye on people. There is no question that SCP-7938 is something they take very, very special care of. And so there may be other non-technological ways that they keep their eyes on people.
Okay. Well, he's gonna have to just take the risk, and on the way to the office, go to the bathroom. And he will actually go to the bathroom in order to make it seem more feasible that he just was on a long ride and he had to go to the bathroom. But as he's in one of the stalls, he's like pulling out the little card and reading it.
Sure. And
hey, everybody, it's the first time anyone's gone to a bathroom in TTRPG. Look at that.
Well, when it mechanically is useful. And so when you open the card, the only thing written on it is sort of scrawled out in terrible handwriting, which means you know immediately that is CSO Reese, who you would recognize as being the chief security officer for Site 26. Gavin Reese.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out why my thing is picking you up, and I'm even pulling out my microphone to see if it would take it out. And it doesn't seem to, strangely enough. Anyway, sure.
Now, what I will also tell you is it's maybe especially surprising because what you know of Gavin Reese, and from the couple of conversations that you've had with the man in passing, he seems to very much be on the same page with you when it comes to handling SCP. More often than not, given the opportunity, he would prefer that they are completely neutralized, destroyed, or removed from the situation rather than being, left in a containment. Also, we have a hydrate. Hail hydrate. Thanks, Dill. but that is something you would be aware of.
Okay. He'll flush it down along with everything else after ripping it up enough times, and start heading to the office.
Okay. And I think that's where collectively you all converge. Finding yourselves now, I assume it's been a day or two since Jackson you went in to speak with.
Yeah.
All right. And you find yourselves there, and once again, everything up until now open door to Director Eden's office is empty. The desk, a mess, abandoned. The little HR cubbies, empty. Jackson, you would even notice that it seems like it's not like you took too hard of a glance, but it doesn't seem like anything's really moved over there either.
There's something weird going on here. I mean, whose entire staff just ups and goes off an assignment and isn't even replaced? Keep your eyes peeled, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello to you too there, Kennedy.
You're back then?
That's right. Took a little trip.
Impressed they let you back in.
I go where they tell me to go. You know how it goes.
Yeah, get used to that after a while.
I had a package sent to you about the thing that concerns all of us. Did you get it?
I assume I saw a folder on my desk.
Actually, if I remember correctly, it was left on the floor under the door. Right,
That's
Hev?
right. Yes.
Oh, okay. So I probably stepped on it and saw it, and I may have just put it on my desk. Okay. I saw that. I haven't taken a look at it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When you have a chance.
Dr. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing fine. It's good to see you again, Lieutenant.
There's even a look and a nod over to Hart. Hart, how you doing?
Lieutenant, have a nice few days off.
Not particularly.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. We'll have to get you some R&R.
In this line of work, there's no true R&R.
We'll find something too for you to enjoy.
Liam's eyebrow will raise at that before just kind of nodding and looking back over the desk.
And yeah, anytime you'd like, you are free to to enter the office, which, as I said previously, the door has been left open. When you do enter, you will see Director Eden sitting at her desk, and unlike previous instances, almost every single time you've ever spoken to her, she has been behind a mound of paperwork, furiously typing or writing away or reading. But she seems to sort of just be sitting there, staring at a about twice the size of what I have, but the same sort of metal hexahedron. And she seems to just be sort of spinning it between her fingers. You notice that all of the sides are smooth, but as it turns, you can see the light hit it in ways that create what look like grooves, shapes that are not immediately recognizable to any of you, nor are they around long enough for you to really sort of try and break them down. But whatever it is, it's clearly something anomalous. And then after a moment, she looks up and she puts it down on her. Welcome. I'm glad you were all able to make it. How has everyone's time off?
Productive.
Quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
We have been called for a new assignment. Is that correct? And there's that sound of like super excitement in Zura's voice. Like, I am going out into the field again. Yes.
And there's this half cold, sort of sad laugh that escapes from her lips. And she sort of taps on the hexahedron that she now has on her desk. And she goes, "Yes, that is in fact the case. It is time for the group of you to be sent back out into the field, unless, of course, anyone has any issue with that."
I mean, is everything okay, Director?
Rarely is everything ever okay in this line of work, Dr. Ryan.
Okay, fair.
Lieutenant MacCern, I assume you have taken the time to speak with your superiors and have been cleared to continue on these assignments.
Extensively.
Good. And Agent Hart, how have you been finding your time here so far?
I've been enjoying it. This is quite a facility you have, and I've been making friends.
Good. I'm very glad to hear that. She pulls open a drawer on her desk and pulls out a bundle of files and then pushes it shut and fans them out and hands them across the desk for the group of you to take. Each one has your respective names on them. She goes, "Well, depending on how you felt about the last mission, this one will either be exciting or terrifying. But ultimately, hopefully, it will go well. You will be taking a bit of a longer trip this time, as we do not have a door that will take you directly where you need to go. So, you will instead be utilizing SCP-7938 to find your way as close to our destination as possible, at which point you will be helicoptered the rest of the way. Hopefully no one has any issues with that. Oh, no one airsick? Because we can solve that. There are plenty of ways to help with that. However, you will notice as you look over your files that there is not a destination listed anywhere inside. That is because the location that you will be going does not appear on any map. The island itself is an anomalous one. With that said, you will also not find any particulars about its history or origin in your files, as that is above your current security clearance, though for whatever reassurance it is worth, I can tell you that if I did not believe you were the group for the job, you would not be going.
High praise.
Yes. Now, recently, up until recently, there has been a small but busy population on the island. They are not quite humans as you know them, but living human beings nonetheless. Recent reports have suggested that they have vanished. This is concerning because there is nothing that we know of this island or any of the things that exist on it that would be able to do so, but unfortunately, it is still the reality of our current situation. there are small villages, all of which seem to have been abandoned. But most interestingly is the temple. And she stops for a moment, tapping the hexahedron against the table. That very distinct sound of metal against wood. And then she drops it. Bunk. The temple is, as far as we know, not particularly strange or anomalous, but these people worshipped something. One of the anomalous effects that I can tell you about that you are clear to know is that any information about this deific being that they worship seems to be an anti-mimetic. It is not something that you are able to process or maintain knowledge of. We have plenty of reports of them explaining it to a number of our agents, but the reports gibberish. The stories that come from our agents afterwards, empty, nonsensical. And nothing about them ever lines up. Ever.
So teams have already gone here.
Teams have gone there in the past, yes. Although it might help for you to know that there is a mortality rate of 2% in our prior teams. So, barring any major change, it should be safe.
If I'm
Safe as
understanding,
it can be.
if I'm understanding this correct, your concern is less about the temple and more about the disappearance of the peoples?
Correct.
Okay.
Have any teams gone since they disappeared?
No. I have reason to believe that any team that I send that is not specifically equipped for this in the way that the group of you are will not have the same chance of success.
What makes us specifically equipped for this?
What indeed?
There seems to be a significant lack of information here.
Correct.
While I appreciate the need for security clearance and all that, how are we supposed to do a job when we know nothing about the situation?
And she picks up the cube and taps it against her desk once more. And then you see her hand disappear underneath the desk. And then each of you, what is everyone's cognitive resistance?
11.2.
I raised mine to 12.7.
16.9.
15.3.
Look at the nerds rocking that cognitive resistance.
12.9.
Great. So everyone is above an 11, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
Great. All of you hear a faint ringing in your ear. And you notice the door that had been left open has been shut. And then slowly across all of the walls and the ceiling and the floor of the office that you stand in, you begin to see symbols sort of pushing their way out of the wood and concrete and carpet. But
William's hand automatically goes to his sidearm.
absolutely. But you can't find yourselves focusing on any of these symbols for very long. Your head begins to ache, your eyes begin to water, your brain begins to swirl, and you begin to shake if you do. It's only when you focus specifically on her that these issues abate. Liam, you go for your gun, and Director Eden puts a hand up and goes, "That will not be necessary, Lieutenant MacCern. This is for all of our safety, not just mine."
Liam's hand does not move from his gun, but he does not withdraw it from the holster.
I have spent the time since your return and report from your last mission doing quite a bit of work on my end and research along with some of our top scientists and occultists within the site. And after a number of conversations with Director Sklar, we have come to the same conclusion. What is happening on this island is likely connected to SCP-6350, the Regal Lion Man. And other events that I have been made aware of in the time since. As such, there is a connection between the group of you and whatever is going on there. And for one reason or another, you have all come back in functional order. Perhaps not at your best, but whatever effects or impacts have been made have not made you incapable of doing your duty or impacted you severely based on the time spent both in quarantine and out. And I would much rather send a group that I know has been able to survive interactions with this SCP or whatever the overarching anomalous effects are stemming from versus anyone else, no matter how well armed or equipped they may be. The truth is, I do not know what you will find when you go there. While we present information to the people who do not have a high enough security clearance, similar to what I told you previously, none of it is true. The reality is that this island that exists in a place that does not is almost a... I am reluctant to use the term an alternate space, but it is people who have similar levels of technology and comprehension to us, but are most definitely not us. And the agents we have sent there before have reported back that the island itself is exceptionally larger when walking its length than it is when seen from the air or the sky. The people there speak of their deific being as though it is the only God, not in the way that many modern religions do, the Christians, Catholics, what have you, who believe in a single being who is sometimes misinterpreted by other faiths. They are fully aware and accept and acknowledge that there are other gods, but that theirs is still the one God. It is concerning given everything. The temple, I believe, will offer a similar connection to the archway that you found previously. And I think it is within everyone's best interests that we find a way to sever that connection, at the very least, or find a better way to contain whatever it is that is happening. The people have gone missing. I am not concerned for their well-being, but more concerned as to where they may have gone. Is that acceptable information for you, Agent Hart?
I would feel more comfortable knowing what similarities may exist between locations on this island and our previous location.
Much of the island seems to share. What is the best way that I can express this to you? I have noticed in your report, she says, she opens up a folder finally and begins moving a few pages around, that some of the descriptors that you have here, the smells, the tint of red, the modified personage, are things that are common there.
Recently or
No,
continually?
continually.
So this temple, you believe it to be somehow associated with 6350.
I do.
And reports come back with information about this temple, about this being, as being memetically altered,
Right.
gibberish, incomprehensible.
Yeah.
That is different from what at least we came across in our initial exposure to it.
I understand that. But and you can tell that you can all tell that she seems to be struggling with something. There is a clear internal scuffle that she seems to be having with everything here, with what she is sharing with you. There are things that I am confident you will come across in your time there that will aid in better understanding what it is that either 6350 or the overarching anomalous impact that it is a part of that will be more easily comprehended than if I were to try and explain it. Though, she continues to speak, and as she does, what you hear is a rumble, gurgling sound, almost like someone choking on gravel. And it is sickening. Your stomachs begin to tighten, tense, and turn. You feel bile raising in your throats. And then she stops, and almost immediately, that feeling is abated. You can understand, I hope, the issue that we have here.
I assume information doesn't fare any better on recordings.
No.
The population of this island, can you at least tell me what they are like, what they value, how they present themselves?
They present themselves as having found the answer to peace. As a non-violent people waiting for the inevitable.
The inevitable.
Yeah. I am certain you can come to the same assumptions that I do as to what that would mean.
Liam has been standing there with his hand on his gun about halfway through this whole thing. And then as, his eyes kept on the current boss, Liam will has taken his hand off his gun and gone into like an at ease stance. As that you said there was like a pressure in our throat, like gravel.
No, that was what
Liam,
you were hearing was a gurgling sound like someone choking on gravel. You felt physically ill.
Gotcha. As that abates, whoever's standing closest to Liam will notice his face is quite scrunched in like anger. Probably standing, probably if he is able, he's at least standing next to Kennedy. He knows, I know that. So Kennedy would at least notice that there's a bit of heat coming from Liam during that whole or after that whole thing, and he's gritting his teeth. And obviously keeping his tongue very still.
Well, I suppose if there is a difficulty in communicating information, I can understand the need for us to figure that out on the field. You said you're unconcerned about where these people may have went to. You are sending us to accomplish what?
It is not that I am unconcerned with where they have gone to. I am unconcerned with their well-being. I am sending you to find out where they have gone and why. And, if possible, to catalog any anomalous effects that you come across in any way that you can, with the understanding that that may well be impossible.
Now, give a little head turn towards MacCern and then back to Director Eaton. And when we do find wherever this is, are we to learn what we can of it? Are we to attempt to do something with this, or are we to cut it off, destroy it, disassemble it, whatever it may be?
One of the reasons that I have brought the group of you together is because that is something that must be decided based on what you find. And it's not something that we will be in immediate communication about at the time. And I believe that with the various views that each of you have, you will be able to settle on the best course of action to take from there.
Very well. I assume we'll be out of contact while we're on this island.
Correct. There will be a way for you to communicate with an offshore boat. I believe they will be using basic signal flare so that they will know when to come and pick you up. Beyond that, we will in fact be out of communication. I understand that this is a drastic step up from investigating a missing woman in an apartment complex. And for some of you, this may seem overwhelming. But I would not be sending the group of you instead of an MTF team if I thought that there was any other choice, or that we would not gain anything, by which I mean to say that you all will meet an unsavory end while there.
And so I will just say throughout this, a large part of why Zach has not interjected is because he can't stop himself from continually trying to look at the symbols that keep appearing. And so he has definitely probably only processed like 25 to 30% of what has been said, because he keeps thinking that if he just looks at them long enough and hard enough, he'll be able to overcome that and understand what they might be, or at least remember them enough to write them down.
Are you also looking for patterns? Because I'm looking for patterns.
100%.
But no, Zura is actually paying a little more attention. Like after she can't like seem to find any discernible pattern, she it like the similarities between the SCP we just dealt with and this one, very close. I am intrigued.
Good. If you have any other questions, now is the time to ask them, because when you leave this room, you will have no more information presented to you, besides basic names and areas that exist upon the island. Everything else that you will find in those files, a cover.
When are we leaving?
2 hours.
Might I suggest we leave in the morning, as I have some other duties to attend to here, and also to regroup with my team that I haven't been able to see over the last day.
I can give you the evening, but you will be leaving first thing in the morning.
That'll be fine.
How does technology fare on this island?
From what I can tell, it will work there, but will not be able to reach anything outside of the island itself. Think of it as a large, thin electromagnetic field. Anything else?
I don't think you could answer any of the questions I have.
Then I sincerely hope that you find the answers that you are looking for there.
Me too.
There have been other teams sent to this island. I assume throughout this time you have attempted mimetic fortifications.
Correct.
And none have worked.
The closest that we have come is extremely experimental and something I would much rather not put in your hands. Not you personally, Agent Hart, of course.
Of course. Certainly no offense taken. Experiments need to be, properly conducted in a safe facility. Isn't that right, Dr. Von Brandt?
Sure. Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I suppose we'll be figuring this all out as we go then.
Good. Then I wish you luck, and we will speak upon your return. And she reaches down, and you see her hand sort of move, and the symbols fade. And as they do, any possible comprehension you may have been hoping to garner fades with them. And as the room settles back to normal, nothing about the conversation that you've had leaves you or escapes you in any way, but each of you can't help feel like you've forgotten something. something you know, something everyone knows. And as you cross the threshold and leave the office, you forget that too. And that is where we're going to take our break. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us for the first part of this episode. We are going to take 15 minutes, grab some water, go to the bathroom, get a snack, take a walk, try and fix these captions. In the meantime, you should do that too, except for the captions thing. We'll handle that. Don't worry about it. Go enjoy your break. We're going to enjoy ours, and then we'll be back for part 2. Yes, eat that pizza. Heck yeah. And then we will be back with part 2 of this episode of Crumbling Foundation. See you soon. And we're back. Thank you for sticking with us through that break. Hopefully you got the opportunity to, as we did, get up, walk around, grab a snack, use the bathroom, do whatever you got to do. But we're back now. Hopefully so are you. If you're not, then it doesn't matter because you didn't hear any of this, and that's fine. But as we rejoin our group, they have just stepped out of Director Eden's office. And what is it that you would all like to do now? Lieutenant MacCern, I know that you had mentioned wanting to take some time with your group.
As we're leaving the office, MacCern will turn to the rest of the group. I wish to see each of you in my office individually, if that's all right. Just to go over some things that we were unable to go over upon our return last time. If there's any issues we need to work out, or any questions of my tactics, or what I will be offering to the team after our last excursion. And MacCern will basically give a schedule to each of them.
Is there a reason we can't simply discuss this like normal people?
Yes, because we're in the military.
We are definitely not in the
Well,
military.
some of us
You,
are.
sir, may be in the military, but I am not.
Well, because I am in the military, I will not be able to speak about these matters as a normal person, unfortunately. And therefore, I wish to have one out. And honestly, Hart, I thought you would have quite the jump at the chance even to have a sit down with me. Am I incorrect in that?
Oh, I would love to go get a coffee sometime. I think that would be fantastic.
I will allow you to bring coffee if that would ease your
Receiving
tension.
an order from an assumed superior to meet you at your designated location at your time is not the conversation that I was looking forward to. Nor the relationship I was looking forward to.
Well, then I shall present it to you this way. My dear Hart, I would love to have some coffee with you. I am free between the hours of 10 and 11, as I have other things I would like to be doing before and after that. So therefore, between the hours of 10 and 11, I would love to sit down with a cup of tea with you. Horrible as I would like to be able to sleep at some point tonight. Would that be pleasing to you, my friend?
Well, let me check my schedule. Yes, I am actually free at that time. Thank you for extending such a warm welcome of hospitality.
MacCern will turn to the other three and go, I'm supposing that I don't need to go through that screed with each of you.
Nope, just tell me when to stop by.
He'll basically go through each of them as Kennedy first, Ryan, then Zoe, then Hart. But also giving himself an hour before that.
Sure. Is there anything in particular Liam will be doing in the hour before that?
I will be searching for Gavin Reese.
Well, checking over at our Site 26 file, the places you are most likely to find Gavin Reese are in his office, in weapons storage, or at security checkpoints. There's also the possibility that he is in the sub-level containment chambers, but you do not have access.
Well, I'll go through each of them in turn, starting with his office.
Sure. Going over to the security section, it's easy enough to make your way through to what you believe to be Gavin Reese's office, and you find him currently hard at work typing away on what you assume to be a standard security report. As far as you know, there have been no major site breaches as of late.
He'll knock on. Is his door open
It
or?
is.
Oh, okay. So MacCern will kind of just knock on the side of the door frame and with a big wide smile go, Gavin, how you doing, lad?
Gavin sort of rolls up the sleeves of his white sort of zip up hoodie that he wears, windbreaker I think actually is the more accurate term, and he sort of crosses his arms, his amber eyes kind of gazing at you for a moment and in thought. Lieutenant MacCern, what can I do for you?
Well, I've been hearing some grumblings from the rest of the lads about my recent appointment, and MacCern will like walk in and take a seat in front of the chair in front of him, and kind of just cross one leg over the other, leaning back, looking very at ease. And the smile's still there, which might be a little unnerving because not a lot of people see MacCern smile. And he goes, so I've been hearing a lot of chatter from the boys, and I just wanted to see if there was some way that we could alleviate some of the pressure. I know that my presence here was a bit of a shock, and then apparently so was my appointment to field duty, of which I would like to point out I did not request. It was quite the shock to me, as you know. I am not one for the tactics of this organization, and was quite surprised to see that they wanted me out in the field mucking about.
Well, you know, the boys like to talk. Funny that though, I've heard maybe you weren't so unhappy with the appointment.
To be fair, if you were stuck in a chair all day, as I know you a little bit, as a doer like myself, that you would jump at the chance to get outside as well.
You know me too well, Liam. Yeah, I'm definitely not the biggest fan of the job, but hey, you take what you got to take, right? We're not here for ourselves.
And I hope you understand that taking what we are given is where I have found myself.
Well, see, we take what we're given, doesn't mean we don't always like it. And you're right. You and me, we got a lot in common. I'm gonna be hard pressed to sell me on, and you not finding a little bit of joy in getting to go back out. It's a lot more interesting being out in the field with all the awfulness than it is teaching the kids who, you know, are just as likely to walk out there and get their faces melted, huh?
That's true. What do you think about it, all of this? And
You're,
MacCern will like put his hands in his lap and kind of cock his head, eyeing him.
what do I think about all of it? It depends on what exactly you mean. Which part?
Me being put out in the field,
Oh, honestly?
of course.
All right, Liam, I'll shoot straight with you. I think it's a terrible fucking idea. At best, right? You're what? Someone from an organization that we tolerate going out in the field with our people. So, do I think you're going to do anything to hurt him? No. Do I think you're going to do anything to put him in a position where they'll be in danger? Absolutely not. Do I think you'll fight to the last breath to keep them alive? Probably, but at what cost? If we're going to sit here and be honest with each other, we both know that you're not here for us, right? You're here for you. You're here for them. And I don't like that thought. I don't like that thought at all. I don't find comfort in the security of putting someone at my back who could just as well be an enemy. Not like we haven't had shootouts before, right?
That's true, we have. But let's get something very straight.
Yeah, look.
And Liam will lean in and stare him dead in the eye. I'm not here for me. I'm not even here for the GOC. I'm here for humanity, as I hope all of us are. And if my higher-ups are telling me to go out in the field, and your higher-ups are telling me to go out in the field, who am I to say no?
Why don't you roll me a charisma persuasion?
So I don't want to.
All the more reason to do it.
Charisma and persuasion.
I don't like those rolls.
I'm looking
I
forward
don't wanna.
to hearing this number.
Actually, I did put points into both of these things.
Nice.
Because I am a trainer. My job here was to be a trainer, so I needed to be a little bit charismatic. That's an exploding die.
Ooh. Always good.
That's not the right die.
I love that mechanic. I love the exploding die mechanic.
It's always fun when it explodes into a 1.
Yeah, sure, that's true.
That almost always happens to me too.
To be fair, if it explodes into a 1, then it's no different than if you had just rolled
It's
the
a
next
9.
highest
So
number.
an 8 and a 9 is a 17, plus 1 is an 18.
Oh, that's really good for this. Yeah. Okay. You're right. It's true. And I think we both know that not as many people as should be here for that goal are. But man, let's be real, you can't really blame me for being at least a little bit jealous, huh?
MacCern will shake his head no as he leans back in his chair. Of course not. In fact, I would trade you with one of my teammates pretty quickly if I had the opportunity, but I don't have that power. So, in the meantime, I'm sure that one of these days trouble will rear its head and you and I'll find ourselves shoulder to shoulder.
If I do my job right, and the people that I've trained and you've trained do their job right, it's not gonna happen. You'll have a better chance hoping for that with Jaya than you will with me.
Well, I hope we have an understanding now, Reese. Sorry for budging in on you like this with the work you got piled up there.
You saw an issue, you walked in. I respect that. Better that than the way most of the bullshit around here works, right?
Yeah, I'm not one to report anything to HR, you know that.
Not like they're gonna do a fucking thing about it anyway.
For me, probably not.
Oh, please. Not for anyone. Except, what's his name? The pretty boy you're working with now. Oh, everyone loves him.
Oh, what do you know about him, by the way?
A good goddamn less than I'd like to. You'd think being in charge of security on site, I'd have an open book, but Foundation does what the Foundation does. Security clearance for don't mean everything, huh?
MacCern will raise his eyebrow at this and go, are you telling me that even under security level 4, you know nothing about this guy?
Not nothing, but they put it like this. I don't know everything. I don't like that. The things I do know, can't tell you. Here's what I can say. Agent Hart is here for a paycheck and fighting for humanities for the rest, right? That's my take on it. If it's true, I don't know. Guy like that comes from the outside, walks in. I don't like him.
Well, if they ever deem it important enough to put my security level up to 4, maybe we'll sit down and have a chat.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
I do miss one thing from the GOC more than anything else, since being a lieutenant gave me a little bit more leeway with information than you SCP folks seem to be able to function with.
Well, it's a lot easier to share information when it's no longer a threat, right?
That's true. Well, Gavin, and he reaches out for a handshake.
Yeah, and he'll grab your hand very firmly, very forcefully. The big wide handshake as he like stands up with you.
You'll be safe, all right?
Doing my best. You be safe.
Nods and walks out. Take that, Hart. I can at least socialize with other soldiers, okay?
And is there anything anyone else would like to do in the meantime as this is going on, preparing for your sit down with Lieutenant MacCern?
So I think. Oh, go ahead, Tal.
No, you go first. Go for it.
So I will say, as Zach walks away with Zura, he definitely signs to her. Did Heaven the lieutenant just set up a date?
She grins widely at this and then signs back to you. Why? Are you concerned?
And he signs back, no, just curious.
I almost immediately respond with, like, I am going to tease you about this until you actually confront him.
And Zach looks a little bit panicked about that.
Don't worry, I won't say anything to him. Or anyone. Just bother you.
And I think the only other thing Zach signs is, wait, do you think he knows I'm wondering about this?
I don't know. He might.
He's very hard to read.
Very. And I'll just like pat Zach on the back as we walk off.
Love the nerd so much. I like to imagine that as they're like walking and signing at each other, there's definitely at least one instance of someone walking by and being like,
Definitely.
and I think, go ahead.
People are gonna start learning how to sign from us, and we're gonna have to like invent a nerd language.
It's true.
You just have to sign in Klingon, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I think from there our camera will cut to Hev. Hev, you exit the office and are walking off to whatever it is that you feel you would like to accomplish, and you feel your phone vibrate.
All right.
And then again.
Well, first thing I would do is fold up the schedule that MacCern gave me and find the nearest filing receptacle trash can that I can. And then I will take out my phone.
Sure. And you see a call coming in from a number you recognize. You've gotten a couple of calls over the years from this number. And to know that it is a personal affair.
Okay. How much of a commotion is coming and going from this site?
It's a commotion if you want to get anywhere. You can step outside, but outside is more of the site surrounded by giant jagged mountains.
And outside is no less surveilled than inside, I'd imagine.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. I will. This is a big facility, right?
Mm-hmm. It's massive.
I assume I don't have access to any server rooms. That would be a terrible idea on their part.
Correct.
I would like to go to. You know what's always noisy? A kitchen. I'm gonna go to the mess hall.
Sure.
And I'm gonna position myself. I'm gonna like go to a vending machine. Because I'm sure this will take longer than a normal ringing phone. I'm going to open up my phone and just, hello, I'll be with you in just a minute. And I will walk in. I'll press some buttons on a vending machine, and then lean up against the wall as near to the loudest place I can be.
Sure. Hello?
Who am I? I assume I know who I'm talking to, but who am I talking to?
You are speaking with Aaron Bernardo, a part-time private nurse that you have hired to take care of your sister.
Is that a male Aaron or a female Aaron or an otherwise Aaron?
This is a male Aaron.
Okay. Aaron, my friend, it's been a while since I've heard from you. How is everybody?
It's okay, Mr. Hart. And you hear like a commotion from the background of the. You can hear like what the faint sounds of like yelling and the occasional clattering of things potentially hitting the ground or a wall or some other hard.
Is she having one of her difficult days?
Yeah, you could say that. It's been pretty rough. She's been asking for you, and I've been telling her you're away on business, but you know how she gets with that.
Yes, I have been away. I was hoping to make my way there while I had some leave. Do you have this under control?
Yeah, I mean, we'll as long as we can get the green light from you, I'd like to give her something to settle her down a little bit. And it should be all right. I don't think she's gonna get hurt or anything, but she's pretty worked up.
I trust you to look after her. Do what you think you must. I have a little bit of time before I must leave on new business. I will see if it's possible for me to make it there before then. I will hopefully let you know within the hour.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like I said, I don't think it's a critical situation. I don't think it's a crisis or anything, but
You
I
would
do
not be calling me if there wasn't an issue.
I think it would do her really good to get to sit and talk with you, Mr. Hart. I think it's probably in her best interest to be able to do so, even if it's just to, help her, stabilize and be more here, you know.
I do. I appreciate you letting me know. It's been longer than I would have liked.
Yeah. I know you keep put that down. Put it down, and then you hear another like clattering sound. Yeah, I gotta go take care of this, but I know we'll see you when we see you, and I'll have my phone nearby. Wait, and then it like this, and a Snickers bar drops from the vending.
Okay. Is there any paperwork, someone I need to talk to, clearance I need to get to leave?
Yes. You generally you have to put in a request. Very rarely will it be something that can be fulfilled the same day. However, with you being you, you do know that there are routes you can take to get it cleared a little faster. And if you're willing to tell them that it is an emergency, maybe even quicker than that. but
Mhm.
it will depend on who's working where, when.
Is this something I could go see my new friend, Mr. Christian Young, about? Or would I have to bother Sadie with this?
No, you would have to bother Sadie.
Okay. Do you want to play that out?
Yeah, we could absolutely do that.
Yeah, I'll straighten myself up and head back to her office.
And when you get there again, she's just sort of looking over the same cube and just sort of spinning it in her fingers. When she sees you enter, she puts it down. She goes, Agent Hart.
Director
back?
Eaton. Yes. I'll skip the niceties this time and not waste your time. I'm sure you appreciate that. I have
do.
business to attend to of my own personal nature and will be taking the evening to myself. I will be back by our departure time tomorrow. I apologize. I should rephrase that in the form of a request.
I think that would be best.
I request a leave for this evening and will be back by our departure time tomorrow.
I assume you have come here instead of just leaving a message because you require use of SCP 7938.
If you would like me back by tomorrow morning, then yes.
Under the condition that your location is something that we may, with minimal effort, maintain awareness of at all times. Yes. However, as I'm sure you can appreciate after the conversation that we had earlier today, it's necessary to be protected.
Are you worrying about me giving away secrets that you were unable to tell me?
No, I am worried about what may happen to you as a result of those secrets I am unable to tell you.
Ah. It warms my heart, Director, that you care so much for my well-being. I appreciate that. Your ability to surveil me is as it would be otherwise. Whether I will be heading to my own personal holdings, if that is in my file, then it is in my file. However, it was part of my agreement upon contract with this agency that I be given leeway to tend to my personal responsibilities when not actively on an investigation.
Correct. And we will maintain that.
Very good. It sounds like we have this perfectly in order then.
Yes, I will call CSO Reese and ensure that you are permitted entry. And I will see you back here. Well, I won't. But your team will see you back here, I hope.
Yes.
Good.
I appreciate you granting me this request, Director.
I appreciate you taking the time to ask for it.
Until we talk next, Director. I'm going to... I'm sure I have an office somewhere. Whether or not I know where it is a different story. So I'm going to find one of my friends, of which I have many in this facility, and I will borrow a sheet of paper and some tape, and I will write a little note to Lieutenant MacCern, something along the lines of a situation has come up, and I... how would he put this? Unfortunately, our arrangement we made earlier has been superseded by a previous obligation that has come up. I very much look forward to the conversation we were hoping to have, and will make an effort to have that conversation when I return or at our best convenient time. and I will take that piece of paper, I will wrap it around the Snickers bar, and I will go and tape it to his door.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
And I will leave.
Wonderful. Lieutenant MacCern, who was it that you had set up for your first meeting?
Kennedy.
Great. And I think as Hev walks off, we turn to Jackson. I assume you're keeping the date.
Absolutely.
And when you arrive, there is a Snickers bar with a rolled up piece of paper taped to his door.
Okay. I'll knock and wait to be given authorization to come in.
You hear movement on the other side of the door, and then the door opens. Did you touch the Snickers bar?
No.
Okay, so as the door opens, MacCern will nod and then like look over at the door and see the Snickers bar, cock his head slowly and just kind of reach for it and take it off and go, what the fuck is this? It's not even a Mars bar. And like open it up. and you see him reading it, and you go, you try to be nice, and even when you're nice, they don't even show up. Come on in. Come on in. And he just kind of goes and is still reading the note as he sits down.
What is Lieutenant MacCern's office?
There's a couple of accoutrements that are not would be probably considered contraband. There are two flags on poles on either side of his desk. One is of the GOC and the other is the Scottish St. Andrew's Cross. They're like right behind him on the chair, but behind his chair. There is a basket hilt broadsword hanging up on the wall behind his head that has the colors of the Black Watch, which hasn't been around for some time, so one can assume that he's been at this for a while. And he kind of puts the note down on his desk, shakes his head and looks up at Kennedy and goes and smiles. Not the kind of like intimidating smile he gave to Gavin, but like an actual, real smile to Kennedy.
So Kennedy will be like, so you have a large group of disappearing people. You don't know where they went. You don't know what happened to them. And your response is to send in a small group to find out what's gone on. Do you see anything wrong with this?
MacCern's hands will fold on top of the desk and he smiles wider. He goes, Kennedy, it's great to see you too. Second time now. I'm not sure if there's an issue between us about greetings or just, shooting. I think the Americans say shooting the shit. But if you want to talk business, that's fine. I wanted to actually we'll just kind of go through how you feeling, then perhaps going into the bit of what happened last time, and then maybe talk about this.
Yeah. I mean, we can do that if you want to do that. That's fine. Let me see. I'm fine. The last operation was fine. Yeah.
Well, that plot was quick. All right. So As for this particular mission, I see it no differently than any other mission that I've been able to read about from this particular organization. You send a small group, you see what happens. If things go bad, well, you send another one, maybe a little bit better equipped. And if that one goes bad, you send another one that's a little bit better equipped. This time, on and on it goes as you lose more and more people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the SCP for you. As for my biggest concern about these operations is it when the GOC goes in, they at least have a bit of a HQ, a bit of a presence, not just a team out in the wilderness. That's not how military operations work, and that's why I don't like working for civilian ones.
Mm-hmm.
The least they could have done if this was an anomalous island, besides just nuke the place, is perhaps have a forward base of operations, anything
think.
really. But no, the SCP seems to be against any sort of intelligent force gathering at all, and just wishes to it's almost like I'm working for the Russians, just sending wave after wave until finally you get through. It's malarkey, really.
I just get the feeling that this is how it's going to be. We're just going to keep being sent to these weird and wonderful things because apparently we're the best people for it. I don't buy that.
My concern is more of the possible corruption that we have faced. If we are indeed dealing with the same entity, and there are those of us who have been somehow tainted by it,
Mm-hmm.
now we're going in for a second time to see the same being.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong, right?
Right.
I did have one question for you. You can get your hands on some demolition charges, yes?
Yes. The nodding in my head is
I mean, enough to take down a temple if worst case scenario?
most likely. I don't know if you've looked at my files at all, but I do have a bit of training with demolitions
I kind of assumed that you probably knew what you were doing.
I can definitely ask for some. I needed to get some more some gear anyway. I can definitely go and ask for some more.
I'm just thinking, I think we got lucky last time. I think being able to shut down that tunnel was luck rather than anything else. And I'd just like to be sure we have a way of permanently shutting down whatever's out there.
I like what you're thinking.
Plus, blowing up's less fun.
Just because it's been a while, what did my commander say about possibly recruiting Kennedy in our last conversation? Just to go for it or to wait?
Not to tread lightly, but you weren't told to stop. It effectively worked out to not just yet, but it's something worth considering.
Okay, so not just yet. Monitor the situation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said, Kennedy? My brain went far a little bit malarkey
Just
there.
I like to see things blow up sometimes.
Who doesn't? Is there any other concerns you have that we should discuss?
Let's see. I don't trust Hart. No, that's wrong, actually. It's not that I don't trust him because I know what he is. It's more that I don't know what his end game is yet.
It seems to me that Hart is an individual who would like to go up the ranks as quickly as possible.
Maybe. It's just something. There's something else there, but he's good for what he does.
I do think there's a lot more to him than we know.
Oh, 100%. And on that note, did I tell you about what happened with Dr. Ryan? He's been out in the field before.
Regale me with your tales, Kennedy.
Well, the closest I can get, he'd been out in the field before, and his whole team was eliminated.
Do you know anything else?
Just that. Which is a bit of a weird one, considering his background.
I can't really hold it against him. I don't know if you know my... Do you know how I got into this business? Have I ever told you?
No.
Well, I was a peacekeeper for the UN for quite some time after my stint in the and there's an obvious like kick in his voice when he says UK military. And he goes, after my stint with the UK military, I went off to the UN to be a peacekeeper and found myself in a situation that was, for lack of a better term, supernatural. Now, I will say that my whole team wasn't killed, but down close to it. And it wasn't no fault of my own. And unless we know exactly what happened with Ryan's team and why it happened, I'm not going to put anything against them.
So that makes 3 of us then.
Then there's Zura.
She's smart. Like when you can't keep pace with someone. She's that smart.
She is, but I think the more pertinent thing we should talk about is the SCP that seems to follow her around.
Another complication.
Liam will grin at this and kind of cock his head and goes, yeah, you Foundation members really seem to like those complications.
I think it's more of a lack of discipline, a lack of foresight, a lack of military training.
How much do you think we should worry about the whole phone SCP?
I've briefly looked through the file. I think currently we're okay, but we'll end up being infected by it. I think that's inevitable. But as the kind director said to me earlier on, we're probably infected with all kinds of stuff anyway, so add it to the list.
I would be very remiss to be infected by any SCP. I was actually holding myself back from being affected by whatever the hell it was in that office.
Yeah, that was weird. Just another fantastical experience. You can't say it's not boring here, can you?
I suppose not.
Honest question for you.
Of course.
You see us getting out of this?
I wouldn't be going in if I didn't think that I could get out of it.
There's just something nagging at the back of my mind. And it's like, you know, when you look over your shoulder because you know someone's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's that feeling. There is something there that I can't quite grasp, and I do not like that. This is going to be a testing one. And I'll be honest, I will feel much better knowing that we can get out quickly.
Liam will stand up and walk over around the desk towards Kennedy and put his hand on his shoulder and go, Jackson, if there's anyone out there that I would like to be in an unescapable situation with, it's you, right?
Yeah. Let's see
Even
if we
if
can
you are
escape.
a British bastard.
Yeah, I think I saw that sword in Braveheart, didn't I?
That one? No. That would be a claymore. But close enough. And Liam will like usher him get up and anyway. Anytime you not need to talk, we'll talk.
Door's always open.
Of course.
And he'll wander out.
And I think as the camera follows Jackson for a moment as he walks out, he turns a corner and our camera fades. And as it comes back into view, we see the bright red lights of Hev's car coming to a stop.
So, actually, Hev's got a whole thing he has to do now. So Hev, of course, has his vehicle. He has all his gear. He is going to, go through the door. Actually, that is an interesting distinction that we never really worried about. How does my car get to where I'm going through a door? But
they make arrangements to ensure it is where you need it.
Okay. So I get my car and I go to a car rental place. I go and I park my car someplace securely. I lock it. I grab a bag. Inside that bag is another bag and a change of clothes. I go in, go to a bathroom, change my entire appearance. I have wigs, I have makeup, I have all sets of other clothes. I fold that bag inside out, put it in a different bag with my other set of clothes, throw that over my shoulder, go rent a car, and then actively drive as if I am losing surveillance. Hev is doing everything possible to see if he can shake any sort of surveillance he knows how to shake.
Ooh, okay. I like this. Let's call this. The
I'm sure that's a multi-step
charisma.
process.
I'm going to start us with a charisma disguise check.
All right. Charisma disguise check. Where are you? There you are. Unfortunately, I'm so pretty, I get a negative modifier to that. But you know,
Too
I
attractive. You stand
I
out.
just can't help being this beautiful. Okay, what am I rolling here? I got 2d10, 2d8. Those are 12s. That's not the right dice. That's one. That's one. That's an exploding D. No, that's not the 8. That's a 10. Okay. That is not a great roll, really. That's a 13.4, I believe. 14.4. Yeah.
If you don't like the roll, do you currently have any reverence or exertion to spend?
Actually, I do have I'm going to spend a point of exertion because I still have some that people gave me from before. I'm going to mark off a point of exertion. So I can add +1 and a D12 to.
Yes.
No, that's to any
Oh,
strength,
not to
dexterity, health,
charisma.
or willpower, not charisma.
Mhm.
I cannot use an exertion for that.
Do you have 2 reverence and do you want to spend them?
Reverence is a complete reroll, right? Not keep the highest between the two.
Correct.
What did I say? 13 point something. 14.4. 14.4. I'm trying to game the game here. I don't remember what the threshold distinctions are as far as what is a good roll. Okay, so that is above average. That is
Yes.
just above average. This is just the beginning of the step. I'm gonna let it ride.
Sure.
I'll let it ride.
And then the other thing I will need from you is a dexterity drive check.
Okay. This is a dexterity check. This I will use exertion on.
Sure. 1 and a D12.
The D12, does that add a 5th dice or does that replace one of my other dice?
No, that adds a 5th dice.
Okay. So that is a D10 and 3d8 and then a D12 on top of that.
Pretty good.
What is with the ones, man? Quit rolling ones. But that is an exploding 8 and an exploding 12. 12 goes up to 20, doesn't it?
Correct. Wow.
That doesn't help.
Rolling D20s in my SCP game? God damn.
I think you're the
Nice,
first to get that to
nice.
happen, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
That is a 22.7.
Okay. So you go and you do your makeup and you put on the wig, you change out your
Baby
clothes
driver.
for, I assume, something a lot less sleek.
Yeah, no, I'm just an average guy now. Like I have
Some random schlub.
Yeah, no, I have like a I don't know, what's a New York sports balls team?
The Yankees.
Buffaloes. Isn't that
yeah, I'm okay with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw on like a Buffaloes t-shirt, a baseball cap. I have a black wig that I put on that's kind of must and just like ripped up jeans. I look like just some guy.
I love it. So you go out, you rent your car, and you do notice pretty early into your drive that there is at least one, maybe more people who are clearly tailing you.
Mhm.
But with some controlled, careful, but talented driving, by the time you get a couple minutes away from where you began, you feel fairly confident that you have shaken any direct tails.
Okay. Yeah, with that, where do I find myself?
Well, I believe you would find yourself at a fairly average-looking 8-story apartment building. Nothing that sticks out particularly or screams money. However, going inside, you find that this otherwise boring basic apartment building has a very well-dressed doorman who greets you immediately, recognizing you.
Does he?
Well, probably not as Mr. Hart,
Yes.
but under whatever alias it is that
Yeah.
you come here under. There's a little bit of small talk, and then you make your way over to the elevator. Once inside, for the camera at least, it becomes fairly obvious that this place is not quite as basic as it seems from the outside. And once you get to the 8th floor and step out, the fact that this fairly average-sized apartment building has only 4 doors becomes more apparent that perhaps this is a bit more special. I assume you have keys.
Yes.
When you pull out your keys, you open the door. And when you open it, you feel resistance at first. And you push past it, and there's a clattering sound of what sounds like hollow metals falling against the floor. And you see what looks like it had once been a stack of like pots and pans now scattered across the wooden floor in front of you. And before you can say a single word, you are assailed by a pair of arms wrapping around you and pulling you into a tight, furious hug. Jack, would you like to describe what your sister looks like?
Yes. So Veronica Hart, known to her friends and family as Ronnie, is a few years younger than Hev, and it probably shows. She's she's in this current state, probably in quite a state. She has long black hair. That's probably, knowing this state she's in, messed up, unkempt, maybe not washed all that frequently. But she definitely comes across with a larger than she is personality, whether that be in a stable mentality, just projecting with maybe not confidence, but with excitement and enthusiasm, or in this state, whatever it may be, everything she does seems turned up to 10. But she's slender, slightly tallish woman, probably in her late 20s, early 30s. Definitely doesn't look that mature though, and of course dresses in very, very average clothes, probably even more towards like probably even more towards somebody who's still holding on to their cool punk vibe in high school. She is grown up Avril Lavigne with some issues that she needs help with. At this point, she probably has like days old makeup smeared on her face, and she's definitely skinnier than is probably necessarily healthy, but she doesn't otherwise show it. But very enthusiastic, as I'm sure Hev realizes as he's knocked back against the door he just opened as his sister jumps on him.
And she immediately just wraps you in this tight embrace, and she looks up at you, and aside from just the days old makeup, you can see the redness in her eyes, probably a mixture of crying and just restless nights that have built up. And then she stops. And she lets go of the hug, and she puts her hands on your chest, and she looks you in the eyes and goes, "It's true. You heard it, right? You did. I know you heard it. You told me you heard it, and this time I don't think you were lying. You weren't lying, right? Not you. Well, you, but not you, but you. Not... You did, though.
Ronnie.
Oh, no, you did. I can tell. I see it.
Okay. Can you remind me what I told you? I told so many people so many things. You know this.
And she turns and she walks a bit away from you and begins pacing back and forth. And she's like, I don't know. Can I tell you? I couldn't tell you last time, and the time before that when I did. You just thought it was more nonsense, but it's not. Have you know? And at that point, Aaron steps out and is like, I'm so sorry, Mr. Hart. There was a mess in the kitchen and I had to go get it cleaned. And she cuts him off and she like flings herself at you again. And her hands go to your cheeks and she goes, it's the sulfur. You smelled the sulfur.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
It's the sulfur. You smelled the sulfur. And I think that's where we're going to end the session.
Don't you dare, Lion.
So sorry.
Don't you dare. Oh, I love it.
I do hope that everyone enjoyed tonight's episode of A Crumbling Foundation.
Cool.
Thank you to my amazing cast, who without I could not possibly have done this. Thank you to our amazing chat for keeping it live the entire way. We deeply appreciate it. I'm going to take a second and throw it around to all of these amazing people so they can remind you who they are, where you can find them, the cool stuff that they do. So let's start.
But before we get to that, I'm sorry. Did she say I told her something or that I heard something?
Both.
Both.
She said that
Okay.
you heard
Gotcha.
something and then said you told her that you...
Okay, cool. Sorry.
No worries. All good. Always important to make sure. So we're going to go in reverse order, which means Zoe, start us off.
Hello, I am Zoe Trooper. I've been playing Zura Von Brandt tonight. Absolutely love the nerd dynamic still. Very precious. You can find me here on Tales from the Table Studios. You can find me over at Hollowed Haven Studios. Please go check them out. Lots of cool stuff. You can also find me on, well, eventually, soon, you'll find me on Component Cast, doing a Cyberpunk Red game. Passing it off.
Yeah, and we're going to pass it to the eye.
I am the Eye. I'm sorry, everyone, for not showing off my mask collection today, as I am ill and didn't feel like doing it, and I hopefully will be fixing that soon. Yes, as Overglob and Chloe has pointed out, you will find me here, only here. I am a Tales from the Studio exclusive. Like a PlayStation game of eons past, unless someone else deems it worthy enough to go to Lion and ask for the ritual of which to summon me.
It's a complicated one, I gotta warn you.
Yeah, and that's it. Love you all. Have a wonderful night.
Hell.
It's me. Hi, my name's Tal Woodblaze, and you can find me over on the socials at The Gamer's Rest. I am a TTRPG designer, so things like D&D, Monster of the Week, and some of my own stuff. And you can check out that all out on my Ko-fi. And I've been doing a few YouTube videos of me playing games and being really, really bad at them. Like just awful, but it's quite good fun.
Jack.
Yes, hello, that is me. I'm still reeling from Lion messing with my sister, so I'm gonna have to get through that. I had so much fun in tonight's game, as I always do. It has been great. Always fun following along in chat. So hello chat, thank you for being awesome. Yes, I have been and hopefully will continue to be Hevard Hart, and you can find me over at my own channel, twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered. Specifically this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. EST, where we will be premiering season 4 of RPGs Uncovered. We will be learning and teaching you guys how to play Cyber Rats, both from a GM standpoint and a player standpoint. So whichever side of the table you want to be on, we're going to cover it, break it down into rules, tools, and themes, throw out some demonstrations and some examples, and have mock session 0. Just because session zeros are so important. If you've been following along on social media, you know that session zeros are so important. So we're going to be going over some of that. I'm really excited for that. We have a great cast. JD is going to be joining me. We'll get to him shortly. Other than that, I think that's all I can talk about right now. I have some cool things coming up, more Whip Workshop interviews, talking with indie developers and what they're pushing through the pipeline to come out soon. I'm looking into solo-ish games, and even more features of RPGs Uncovered. So if you want to hear more about that, follow me on Twitter at RPGs Uncovered. And I have a Discord and all kinds of other things. You can find it in the link that Nightbot was so kind to drop, I believe. Somewhere around there. JD,
yeah,
my nerd.
Hi, I'm JD. You can find me on socials at JD, not Jason Dean. And of course, I was playing Dr. Zachary Ryan, who is just sweet and innocent up until you start talking about his trauma and things get a little less sweet and innocent. And I similarly hope to continue getting to play him because he is a lot of fun and I cannot wait to see how these dynamics unfold. I've got a ridiculously chaotic week. I'll be with Live from the Apocalypse the next 2 nights for Class Reunion and Vampire Records. I'll be with RPGs Uncovered for season 4, and for our initial demo of Cyber Rats and learning the rules. And then I'll be back with Live from the Apocalypse for Academy H on Sunday. So it's going to be a busy week, but I'm really looking forward to it. I am so thrilled for Cyber Rats. I am still talking with fellow players about character dynamics days after session 0, and it is such a good time. So I cannot wait.
Tactical blimp. I'll
Tactical
see you on Saturday.
blimp. Yes. We made great decisions. Absolutely perfect. Not going to get us into trouble. It's fine.
It sounds magical. I'm very excited for it. Between having 3 people who are some of my favorite people in the world involved, and the game, which sounds amazing, and the fact that it happens to also be run by Jack, I'm so excited to see where that goes. And tactical, like, how could you? I'm lying.
How could you not?
I'm going to keep things very short and sweet. You can find me here. I'm the head of Tales from the Table Studios. You can find me over on Twitter at TheLionKnight42. That and our Discord, which is linked below, are your best places to find updates and announcements regarding our shows, our games, and anything else that we're doing. Before we disappear for tonight and go raid someone, I will tell you who in a moment, there is one thing that I do want to address. As I haven't had the opportunity to yet. Keep it short. At present, we here on Tales from the Table Studios have 2 games in our roster, both Rega and Dice Trays Action, which up until now have been run on Dungeons & Dragons. Our plan moving forward for DTA is to immediately switch over to Pathfinder 2nd Edition, which we will be using for all of our next recordings moving forward. However, with that said, I do want to address that we have, I believe, 3. The banana will tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe we have 3 episodes in the can right now. What that means is our next 3 episodes of Dice Trays Action, including tomorrow night's episode, will still be in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, as we've spent a lot of time, hours, and effort into putting those together, and I feel it wouldn't be right for our players to put that work off to the side. But from those episodes from the last of those episodes onwards, you will be seeing us every other week on Tuesdays here at Tales from the Table Studios, running in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. We're all really excited about the shift and feel it's incredibly necessary given everything going on. For Rhaegar, it seems that the plan is also going to be to shift to Pathfinder. However, because we have to take some time to go over with some of our players, for the next couple of episodes, we will be proceeding with 5th edition, but are actively working to move off of it and have come to the determination that it would be detrimental to both the cast and the people who show up every other week now to watch it, to take the time off and go on hiatus. So we will be continuing, but within the coming weeks, it will also be switching over to Pathfinder. That's something that I did want to make very clear and wanted to share with all of you. With that said, also moving forward, I do not see a situation where we will be beginning any new 5th edition series, but what comes from here, we will see. Hopefully some amazing stuff from some incredible creative minds. That's what I'm expecting. But enough of that, enough with the doom and gloom and the somber stuff. We're here because we're telling great stories. We're having fun. I'm lucky enough to have these amazing casts. In just a moment, we're going to disappear. But we're not, but don't go anywhere, because we're going to go and raid Lost Caravan RPG, who are currently doing what I think is a Clue-themed fiasco one-shot. So how can you not want to do that? So we're about to disappear. Stick around. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Eat enough. Drink enough. Always remember to tell your tales. Have a good night.
Bye.